Naruto was drenched in sweat, his hands covered in cuts and scratches. Even if Tsunade didn't acknowledge Jiraiya's bet, he still wanted to master the Rasengan. But at the moment it wasn't going well. He'd already learned the first step, rotation. He could already manipulate his chakra well, so it was just a matter of refining his technique. The second step, power, was proving difficult. He could control the power of his elemental ninjutsu far better than regular techniques, which was why he had difficulty learning the tree and water walk when he first became a genin. Back then he learned to control his tree and water walking through meditation and natural improvement. But now he had to not only control his power, but add the other parts to the Rasengan. He had 9 shadow clones helping him train as well. He could have created more since he recently learned the multi-shadow clone jutsu thanks to Jiraiya, but decided against it. This way him and his clones would be forced to use more chakra. Naruto was then thrown to the ground as his training balloon burst. Off in the distance he heard Haku training as well. She had made more progress on her water to ice manipulation than he had in the Rasengan. It frustrated him, but he also felt a greater need to get stronger as well. He'd felt this way ever since him and Haku started training together. Knowing Haku was stronger than him constantly pushed him. On the other side of the field, Haku was thinking the same thing. She was watching the blonde from the corner of her eye, feeling a warmth come over her even as ice surrounded her. She couldn't understand why Naruto still saw her as superior in strength. Naruto had long ago reached her level, and recently passed her. He was far too modest, refusing to gloat about his abilities. "How's he looking?" Jiraiya asked, appearing at Haku's side. "He's experiencing difficulty," Haku admitted. "Are you certain he will be able to learn the Rasengan?" Chakra capabilities are largely genetic, that's why Kekkei Genkai exist. It's also why almost all Uchiha have a natural fire affinity, or why Sakura has an affinity for genjutsu and medical ninjutsu. Neither of her parents are shinobi, so they have small chakra reserves which their bodies must strictly control. Those traits passed on to Sakura. That's why Naruto's affinity for all natures plus Kekkei Genkai elements is so mysterious? Haku asked. The sage nodded back. Like Naruto said, he also hoped Tsunade's wealth of knowledge would be able to help him understand Naruto's unique talents. The Sannin started towards Naruto as he saw one of the shadow clones burst out of chakra. Naruto had only managed to keep 2 balloons from popping, but he needed to do it consistently before moving on to the final step. Naruto fell to the ground once more, another balloon broken. He groaned in frustration, the sage helping him stand. "Do you think you could show me the second step again, pervy sage?" The sage nodded, taking a balloon and channeling his chakra into it. He pushed until the balloon was just about to break. Naruto stared intently, trying to piece together a strategy to recreate Jiraiya's technique. Once Jiraiya was done, he got back to work, his clones doing the same. Jiraiya stepped back, smiling at Naruto's dedication. It faded as he sensed someone watching from the outskirts of the town. "Did you come by to check out the competition?" Jiraiya asked as he appeared beside the spectator. Tsunade groaned. She'd been caught sooner than expected. "I'm confident the kid won't learn the technique. Look at how much he's struggling. Do you know how long he's been training?" Jiraiya frowned. "He's been up since the morning after you first met him. He hasn't slept since." Tsunade blinked in shock. Having so much stamina at such a young age was rare, even if he was part Uzumaki. It was also impressive his chakra reserves were just as large as that of a pure Uzumaki. Tsunade ended up watching from afar until Naruto finally collapsed the next morning. He had made enough progress to not burst the balloons half the time. With a little more training, he would be able to move on to the last step, combining rotation and power. But he only had 2 days once he had enough strength to get back to training. Tsunade doubted he would be able to master the Rasengan in that time. She stopped watching after the first hour, Naruto gaining no progress. Jiraiya didn't speak to her either, focusing on his students. Shizune didn't bother her either at her request. Orochimaru's offer was still looming over her shoulder. Heal his arms and she would receive Nawaki and Dawn, alive. It was preposterous. She almost tried to kill him, but then he performed a jutsu she was only vaguely familiar with, the reanimation jutsu. The snake claimed to have used it in his fight with Hiruzen, summoning the first two Hokage. It was a success according to him. Tsunade pointed out that those were just lifeless husks, not the real Hokage. Orochimaru countered by saying he'd perfected the jutsu, and that in order to make them lifeless shells, he had to place a seal inside their heads. He even gave her the seal he used. But since her knowledge with seals was next to nothing, she couldn't determine if he was lying. She couldn't decide if she could trust Orochimaru. She had every reason not to, but the chance to see her loved ones was far too tantalizing. It was at that moment, as she watched Naruto's first failed attempt to form the complete Rasengan, that she decided to risk Orochimaru's offer. Naruto interested her. He made her consider returning home, but it wasn't enough. Not for her. Castle ruins next day. Orochimaru smirked as Tsunade and Shizune walked towards him and his companion. The week was over, and Tsunade had made her decision. It would seem she took our offer, his underling said, adjusting his glasses. Orochimaru nodded. He was sick of his powerless arms. Since his fight with Hiruzen, they had remained black and limp. He felt nothing but agony, his arms deprived of chakra. The Reaper Death Seal absorbed chakra, the life force of all humans. There was no known way to retrieve what the Reaper had taken. The only possible solution was to have the arm healed and given chakra from another source. He was eager to gain use of them again. And, even if Tsunade chose not to help him, all he had to do was wait for another host. He wouldn't be able to form hand signs, but at least the pain would vanish. Tsunade stopped a few feet away, eyes cold. "You never told me how you got your arms injured," she seized. Orochimaru shrugged. "Well, thanks to Jiraiya, you know now. Sarutobi-sensei made sure to take them using the Reaper Death Seal. Does this mean you're not accepting my offer?" He saw Tsunade's body shake, the gritting of her teeth, the slight presence of ki. She was reluctant, but she was going to accept the offer. Orochimaru held back a grin. "Fine, I accept. But Shizune will be the one to heal your arms." Orochimaru frowned. "I requested you. The only reason you wouldn't do it yourself is if..." "I see. You're still afraid of blood." The snake couldn't help but chuckle. "Very well. Your student seems capable enough." He then turned to his companion. "Kabuto, show the girl my arms." "Yes, Lord Orochimaru," Kabuto replied. He and Orochimaru approached Shizune, the former lifting his master's arms for him. A green aura formed around them as Shizune began analyzing with medical ninjutsu. Tsunade stood a few feet away, her agitation clear. Shizune paused once she finished her analysis. "I believe I can heal your arms. Not back to full strength, but you'll at least have chakra running through them again." "Splendid," Orochimaru smirked. "How long will you need?" Shizune's eyes turned cold. "Only a moment." Kabuto's eyes widened behind his glasses, as did Orochimaru's. Shizune formed a fist, the Senbon launcher hidden on her wrist, launching a series of projectiles. Kabuto barely dodged, a serpent springing out of Orochimaru's sleeve, wrapping around Shizune. He glanced at Tsunade. Based off her expression, she hadn't expected her student to attack. "Looks like the student isn't as smart as the teacher. You made a big mistake attacking me." Shizune smirked. It's a good thing we've got company then. Art of the Raging Lion's mane. Jagged white hair tore through the snake, Orochimaru jumping back to Kabuto. Jiraiya landed beside the shocked Tsunade, Naruto and Haku jumping in front of them. "Why are you here?" Tsunade blurted out, her shock and frustration clear. "I told him about your deal with Orochimaru," Shizune admitted. "I'm sorry, Lady Tsunade, but I simply cannot trust Orochimaru to uphold his end." "For good reason," Jiraiya answered. The Anbu watching Orochimaru's fight with Hiruzen saw him summon the first and second Hokage, using the reanimation jutsu. However, they were merely puppets. Orochimaru doesn't have the power to bring either Nawaki or Dawn back. But you knew already. You just don't want to admit it. Tsunade bit her lip in frustration. She did know the chances were next to zero, yet the faintest possibility still drew her in. Orochimaru smirked as his old teammates' hopes shattered. "I suppose I must wait for my next vessel if I wish to have my arms back." "I always was suspicious of you since our fight during the Chunin exams," Haku frowned, staring at Kabuto. "After you disappeared before the finals, I figured you weren't a member of the Hidden Leaf." Kabuto instantly recognized Haku as well, chuckling to himself. "I wouldn't be surprised if the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki said such a thing, but that is rich coming from an outsider like myself." Naruto lowered his stance, almost standing on all fours. "And here I thought you were a decent guy when we first met. I was even looking forward to fighting you." Kabuto chuckled. "I can't say the feeling is mutual. You're just an annoyance to Lord Orochimaru's ambitions. Which means I have to incapacitate you." Naruto smirked. "But you can't kill me. Which means I've got the advantage." Naruto charged, staying low to the ground as he unleashed a flurry of kicks and punches. Kabuto was caught off guard for a moment, quickly moving to defense as Haku joined the attack. But before things could escalate, Jiraiya slammed his hand on the ground. "Summoning Jutsu!" Two large toads appeared, jumping towards Orochimaru, blades in hand. The Sannin weaved through them, landing kicks to their chests. He and Jiraiya began a bout of taijutsu, Orochimaru on the defensive without the use of his arms. Shizune stood near the still shocked Tsunade, fending off the many serpents that crawled towards her. "Kabuto!" "Yes, Lord Orochimaru." Kabuto kicked Naruto away, blocking a senbon from Haku. He jumped to his master's side, lifting Orochimaru's arms. The Sannin bit down on his own flesh, Kabuto wiping the blood across a summoning circle written on his arms. The two vanished in smoke, emerging atop a snake the size of the castle beside them. "A summoning boss?" Naruto asked. "Manda," Jiraiya answered. "His power rivals Gamabunta. Between the three Sannin, we each have a summoning contract. Our respective bosses are evenly matched." He turned to his students. "Take care of Kabuto. He may go after Tsunade." "Can't she take care of herself?" Naruto growled, still frustrated with her. "Not in her current state," Jiraiya sighed. Naruto looked back at the Sannin. She was on her knees, eyes wide with fear. Orochimaru had made sure to splatter blood across the grass in front of her. Shizune was being swarmed by snakes, unable to block her master's view of the crimson liquid and wake her from her stupor. Sure enough, Kabuto jumped off Manda, dashing towards Tsunade. Naruto and Haku ran after him, Jiraiya weaving a set of hand signs. He bit his thumb, a summoning circle forming beneath him. The smoke cleared, revealing Gamabunta. "You're just as bad as Naruto, summoning me to a situation like this," the toad grumbled, seeing Manda. "Are you telling me you don't want to defeat that snake?" Jiraiya retorted. Gamabunta laughed, drawing his blade. The two giants sprung at each other. Naruto kicked away Kabuto's scalpel, the young man jumping back from Tsunade. Haku froze the snake surrounding Shizune, the three facing off against Kabuto. Kabuto chuckled. "You think numbers will give you the advantage? Tsunade's student is a medic, not a fighter. And you, Jinchuriki, have been training all week. Lastly, The Yuki knows how strong I am. Naruto turned to Haku. She frowned. During our fight in the preliminaries, I could tell he was holding back. How much, I don't know, but it's safe to assume he's as strong as a Jonin, perhaps more. Naruto frowned as well. He's Orochimaru's right hand, so it makes sense. But I'm still not going to let you touch Granny Tsunade. I've got a bet to win with her. Naruto jumped forward instantly, Kabuto drawing his chakra scalpel. Naruto managed to land a few hits, but his moves did feel sluggish. Haku defended against a spray of kunai, Naruto unleashing a fireball. Kabuto cut through the flame, leaving hand signs of his own. A pillar of stone blocked their path, Naruto vaulting over, placing him in the path of a thrown scalpel. He blew it away with wind chakra, placing his hand on the ground. Spikes of earth shot towards Kabuto. He evaded each one, Haku landing a series of kicks. She suddenly felt a sharp pain flow through her right leg. Kabuto threw a punch which she quickly blocked with her left hand before jumping away. Kabuto snapped his fingers, and Haku fell to one knee. Naruto stopped his assault the moment she fell. Whenever she tried to move her leg, her arm moved instead. The opposite happened when she moved her arm. He must have used his chakra to confuse my nervous system. But how? Haku mused aloud. I'm a medical assassin, for lack of a better term, Kabuto replied, revealing another chakra scalpel. My knowledge of the body rivals Tsunade's. The difference in our use of that knowledge, however, is clear. Naruto cursed under his breath. Do you think you can override his chakra? Not easily, Haku admitted. Kabuto clearly has powerful and dense chakra. If he can manipulate my body with it, he's more dangerous than we thought. Naruto frowned, turning back to his enemy. He is not the only one with powerful chakra. Naruto charged, using his full speed and strength. Kabuto didn't falter, though he was annoyed by Naruto's speed, even if he wasn't in peak condition. Naruto threw punches and kicks wildly, Kabuto blocking most. The Uzumaki threw an explosive kunai, Kabuto batting it away with a chakra-coated hand. He landed a palm strike on the blonde's chest, throwing him against a boulder. He felt constant jabs of pain as he stood back up. He sensed sharp chakra bouncing inside him, like dozens of senbon. He bit back the pain. He didn't have the luxury, with Haku down and Shizune trying to wake Tsunade from her blood-induced panic. Hey Tsunade, listen up, Naruto shouted, drawing the attention of both her and the other Sannin atop their beasts. You're paralyzed while everyone else is fighting. Stop feeling sorry for yourself. Do you think they want to see you like this? If you truly love them, then become the damned Hokage, and you can start by giving me that necklace. After I've dealt with Kabuto. I don't plan on dying. Not anytime soon. A shadow clone appeared beside Naruto. The two blondes brought their hands a few inches away from each other, both concentrated, wisps of blue chakra beginning to form. The wisps quickly multiplied and increased in speed, forming a sphere of spinning chakra rings. Once it was prepared, it was roughly the size of Naruto's fist. Tsunade and everyone else watched with a mixture of emotions at Naruto's completed Rasengan. Let's see how strong you really are, Kabuto, Naruto taunted, dashing alongside a handful of clones. Kabuto wasn't taking chances. Even if Naruto hadn't fully mastered the Rasengan, it was still deadly. From what he'd been told about the 4th Hokage and Jiraiya by Orochimaru, the Rasengan was powerful enough to defeat an opponent in one blow. People rivaling the Kage had fallen to its raw power. He weaved through the clones, somehow losing track of the real Uzumaki. One clone released a gale palm, forcing Kabuto off balance. Another erupted out of the earth, grabbing hold of his legs. Kabuto threw his scalpel at the earth, destroying the clone, but by the time he was free, Naruto was on top of him. The Rasengan slammed into Kabuto's chest. He felt his flesh tear apart violently, reaching further into his body. The last of the Rasengan's energy was spent, sending the broken Kabuto hurtling against a boulder, splitting it in two upon impact. Naruto fell to one knee, clones dispersing. He was running on little chakra. He doubted he could do more than a few ninjutsu. Luckily, Haku was back on her feet. She managed to disrupt Kabuto's chakra in her nervous system by using her senbon in a similar way to acupuncture. By using her own chakra, she broke down Kabuto's, her body no longer misinterpreting signals. Without warning, a pair of kunai flew towards the two Chunin. Haku blocked them, slicing the now harmless explosive tags. "You didn't honestly think one attack would defeat me?" Kabuto's voice rang out. The man slowly rose to his feet, thick steam coming from his chest. The flesh was reforming before their eyes, until all that remained was a faint, circular scar. "I will admit, if it were anyone else, that technique would have won you the fight. However, I'm a medical shinobi. My ability to heal myself rivals Tsunade's ability." Kabuto revealed another scalpel, ready to fight Haku once more. She would be far less annoying than Naruto. But before he could even make a move, he was thrown across the field once more. Tsunade stood where he once did, chakra still coating her fist. Her eyes were wide, her breath shallow. "Sorry about that, kid," Tsunade said. "You're right, I do need to get my act together. But I never imagined you'd be the one to make me." Naruto chuckled. "What can I say? I have a gift for helping people." Tsunade grinned, composing herself. Her fear of blood wasn't gone yet, but she'd always known it stemmed from her refusal to act. It would fade with time, but she needed to focus on the moment. Kabuto was up once more, a sizable dent in his face. He spat out blood, staring at the female Sannin. "Lord Orochimaru is correct. You are a pain when you fight. No matter, I'll simply dissect you, like all my opponents." Tsunade couldn't help but laugh, putting him on edge. "You compared yourself to me earlier. It only takes one look to see how inferior you are to me." Tsunade closed her fist, an aura of chakra engulfing her. Kabuto raised his hands to defend, but before he realized what was happening, Tsunade was on top of him. Naruto was fast, but Tsunade at full strength was even faster. He dodged the first punch, but was thrown into the air. From atop Manda, Orochimaru saw his subordinate flying through the sky, realizing that Tsunade wasn't holding back anymore. "Summoning Jutsu!" Orochimaru cursed as the last Sannin summoned her boss at last. A large, white slug with green stripes appeared beside Gamabunta, the two facing off against Manda. The snake crawled underneath Kabuto, the man landing with the majority of his body broken from just a single punch. "I should have expected this. Not even you could beat Tsunade," Orochimaru grumbled. Luckily for him, Kabuto would recover, provided they managed to escape. But with 3 boss summons present, things were about to get ugly. "It has been a long time, Lady Tsunade." "And you as well, Lady Katsuyu," Tsunade answered. "Sorry for the abrupt summoning, but Jiraiya and Gamabunta need our help." "As you wish," the slug answered, sliding closer to the Toad Sage and boss. A protrusion formed on Katsuyu's side, transforming into a smaller version of the slug. It crawled up Gamabunta's back, coating him and Jiraiya in a green aura. Within a few seconds, all minor injuries were either gone or in the midst of healing. Jiraiya felt his chakra refilling. Orochimaru cursed. Not only was the slug summon strong, it could heal any injury. Its ability surpassed Tsunade's. The two combined could turn the tide of any battle. They were the reason the Hidden Leaf suffered very few casualties during the last war. "I'm afraid this journey has turned out fruitless. Best I retreat for now," the snake admitted. "Fire style, Toad Oil Bomb!" The former Sannin had to jump off Manda's head as it was attacked by Jiraiya. A clone of the sage jumped down in an attempt to grab him with his extended hair. Orochimaru transformed into dozens of tiny white snakes, which reformed a few feet away. Manda slithered over, carrying Kabuto in its mouth. "Ice style, Frozen Fortress!" Haku unleashed a wall of ice to try and halt their escape, but Manda simply batted the ice away harmlessly. Haku's eyes narrowed, feeling something well up inside her. The curse mark on her neck burned. She couldn't stop it from crawling up her face, frost dancing around her fingertips. She flashed through hand signs, slamming her hands on the ground. Ice style. Shower of hail! Orochimaru looked up, a single spear of ice the size of a small house, forming out of thin air. A crack was heard, and the spear shattered, the thousands of tiny fragments flying down towards Manda. Everyone could sense the force behind them. One would have the speed to pierce human flesh. However, Manda was still able to shield Orochimaru, receiving nothing but a few dents in its scales as the shards bombarded him. Orochimaru stared Haku down, grinning. I think that girl will end up being a major pawn in my future endeavors against the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki. Good thing I gave her that curse mark. Without another word, Orochimaru jumped into Manda's mouth. Jiraiya unleashed another combination jutsu with Gamabunta, but it never connected. Manda and his master vanished in smoke. His chakra vanished, meaning he had teleported to a summoning land like the toads Mount Miyoboku. Both Jiraiya and Tsunade cursed. Their old teammate had evaded them once more. Well, at least one good thing came out of this, Jiraiya chuckled. It's good to have you back, Tsunade. Tsunade sighed, jumping off Katsuyu to join him. Sorry, I should have come to my senses sooner. Her fists tightened. But that damn snake knows how to manipulate me. I was a burden to you. Jiraiya rested his hand on her shoulder. Well, I know you'll return to your grumpy old self in no time. I know I would if I had to deal with all of Hiruzen's leftover paperwork. Tsunade smiled back. I'm sorry I brushed his death off. I should have been more considerate, especially around Naruto. You were drunk, you know that as well as I. I'm certain Sarutobi-sensei would be proud. You're taking the hat, after all. Tsunade's smile vanished when the Hokage hat was mentioned, turning her head to Shizune, Haku, and Naruto. The two women were crouched over the blonde. Tsunade ran over to them, almost about to call for Katsuyu to heal Naruto. But when she got closer, she saw his face. It was peaceful. He'd been training all week, and then had to take part in this battle and use the Rasengan. It was surprising he had stayed awake this long. He will be alright, Shizune confirmed. He just needs some well-deserved rest. Tsunade nodded, turning to Haku. Her hands were clasped around her neck, her breathing ragged. She had sensed the curse mark's activation against Haku's will. It was taking all the Yuki had to lock it back up. Once we get back to the leaf, I want to examine you, Haku, Tsunade stated. Haku looked at her coldly. Worry about becoming Hokage. I can take care of myself. Sasuke Uchiha has used this mark far more than I have and can control it. I don't see why I won't be any different. Tsunade stopped herself from protesting. Haku was stubborn like her. There was no point trying to persuade her for now. She sighed, telling Katsuyu to return home. Gamabunta did the same, Jiraiya coming to lift Naruto off the ground. Let's stay until Naruto recovers. I can fill you two in on what's been happening while you've been away, the sage said, looking at Shizune and Tsunade. Tsunade nodded in agreement, Jiraiya turning towards the town. Wait! He stopped, looking back to Tsunade. The Sannin reached for the string around her neck, taking the green crystal off. Jiraiya smiled. She was going to uphold her end of the wager. That necklace meant a lot to her. As she slowly tied it around Naruto's neck, he could see the look in her eyes. It was similar to the way she used to look at Nowaki. I won't let anyone hurt you, Naruto Uzumaki. I won't fail again. She looked up at Jiraiya. I will become Hokage and fulfill Nawaki and Dawn's dream. And I will protect this boy the best I can. For Minato and Kushina. Jiraiya and Shizune smiled at her words, the group finally walking towards the town. Haku lagged behind them, a faint smile forming on her lips. It was unfamiliar but pleasant. She looked at Naruto's sleeping form. I must do the same. I must protect him. Not for Lord Zabuza's sake, but for my own. Haku never expected herself to make such a vow, but seeing Tsunade's expression when looking at Naruto, something clicked. The Sannin looked at him like a son, the way her own mother used to look at her. What Haku was experiencing was different, but she knew it was love nonetheless. If you like what you just heard, consider hitting the subscribe button and bell icon to get notified about new videos. If there's a part you've missed, then check out the entire playlist on screen. If you like this story, please share it with your fellow anime lovers. Any support helps a lot. That's all for now. This is Ninja Kai, disappearing in a golden flash.